So, a lot of things happened since last time, and first of all, I didn't post like for a year almost, which is why I want to cover the last video, because in the last video I made essentially a promise that I'm going to, hit PRs or do, try to progress in weight specifically. And to do that, I wanted to, gain weight, all this stuff that you have to do to essentially hit PRs. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in this video also. But I just want to slightly cover what happened, very briefly, and why I essentially didn't do that. So I'm not gonna get personal here, but essentially, life happened. Let's just say it like that. And I wasn't really motivated to do, to train really hard. I started training harder than before, since the last video. But, as I said, life happened. I'm not gonna go into it. And it doesn't really matter, this is perfectly normal. I was still training. I wasn't training, full force, but I was still training, It's not like I didn't train. I had like moments where I was like resting for like 2 weeks, like around holidays, and actually I believe that that's beneficial. And also another thing, like my shoulder, as I was saying in the previous video, my shoulder was hurting and it wasn't healing, at the rate that I wanted to, obviously. And I just kind of dropped it. I didn't want to continue, aggravating my shoulder. Also, in 2024, somewhere in the beginning, I developed some minor tweak in my back, and I never had any issues with my back in my training up until 2024. So essentially, 18 years of training, never had a back issue. Maybe once in my life, I think when I was doing like overhead press, I was like out for 1.5 weeks or 2 because I was like doing, I was training my overhead press too intense and I was arching my back, and when you press, I was like, and I was younger, and all of that things combined. But essentially, never from squats or deadlifts ever. So this was also a little bit discouraging because I had this shoulder issue, and on top of that, my back started like bothering me a little bit. At some point, it hurt while I was doing 60 kilos on deadlift, and at that point, when I go into the training, I want to train, relatively heavy at that point. And I come into the gym and I want to lift like I don't know what was, like, for example, from not really heavy, from 160 to 180, and 60 kilos hurt. So yeah, that's a little bit frustrating, and needless to say, this other private bullshit that happened in life on top of that thing. And I also was kind of drinking like 2 to 3 times per week, not like shit facing, but a few beer here and there, which is enough to mess with your training. And yeah, maybe we can do a video about alcohol also, but it will 100% affect your training, even if you're drinking like 1 or 2 beers, every 3 to 4 days. It will affect your training 100%. But essentially, I just pretty much gave up because my shoulder hurt. Like, whatever I did, my shoulder basically hurt. And, that's just real life. It happens, especially when you're 35, like me. So, I just pretty much gave it up. And, like, maybe if I do, start again training a little bit heavier, I will. If I don't ever in my life, I won't. That's pretty much it. You can do whatever you want, So, yeah, so that's what happened. And I was also thinking if I would ever post anything on this channel, I wouldn't do an announcement or anything like that. Like, who would even care, to be honest? But yeah, it was a struggle, to be honest. And now, currently, I'm in a position where I can focus on training, pretty much only on training, and most likely I will. And so that this video isn't just all about me. And to be honest, I was thinking to whether or not I will actually cover this, because I honestly don't think that people care too much about you. They only care, how can you help them. This is why I most of the time don't like to, focus on myself, but you actually have to prove that what you are doing works. So this is also the reason why I'm actually mentioning anything, because you have to actually prove that works. So for example, if I just talk about deadlifts and I never show how strong I am, or if I ever been strong in my life, what's the point? Why would you ever listen? So this is the reason why I'm also obviously talking about myself and showing like this, to see yes, I actually kind of look like I lift currently. So so yeah, you have to show it. So also, the title of the video also, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I see that a lot of people still don't understand a lot about either technique or how to actually gain strength or mass. And that for taller guys, it actually is, it's not impossible, but it is harder. You have to eat more. I mean, you are taller, so most tall guys can eat much more food in general, but some tall guys just don't have the appetite, so it's harder for them even more. Because you're taller, you have a bigger body burns more calories, and it's more difficult to gain weight for some people. So I've seen that in my life, I've seen that in real life. Some people really struggle with gaining weight because they don't have a big appetite. It's really difficult for them to stuff food in their mouth, even if it's crap. And it is a problem for some people. The older you get, this problem will probably most likely disappear, because the older you get, you can gain weight more easily, blah blah blah. So, but still, to this day, if you are natural, not even tall, just if you are natural, people still don't realize that you have to gain weight. So you don't have to get fat, just things are not always black and white. You don't have to get fat to gain mass or strength, but you definitely, 100%, 1,000,000%, you have to gain weight. It's pretty simple like that. And no, your goal isn't recomposition. Recomposition only happens in very few cases. Somebody would try to argue with me with some new research or shit like that. It always happens, but it's always the same. For the last 100 years of recorded bodybuilding and strength training, it has always been the same shit. People always try to do the same shit. People always try to, sell you shit. If you want to, especially if you want to get stronger, and your only goal is to get stronger, and you pretty much don't really care how you look like, I mean, literally, zero downsides to gain weight. And I'm not saying get fat, I'm saying gain weight. Because if you are training hard and you are eating 90% of the food that's healthy, like vegetables, fruits, meat, good carbs, whatever the fuck that is, like legumes, healthy starches like rice, potatoes. Like, if the most of your calories is those kind of foods, and only 5 to 10% is like shit foods, because everybody's gonna eat shit even if they don't admit it. Nobody does a bulk without eating some sort of chocolate or pizza, whatever you want, ever. Only if you're cutting, but even then people limit it to like once for a week, or for once every 2 weeks or something like that. Even if you are a hardcore bodybuilder who is gonna end up on stage, you're still gonna I mean, enough about that. So recomposition doesn't really work. And this is the main reason why people get stuck. Especially now, in this age where everybody is just talking nonsense, man. Like, most of the guys who end up being popular are on steroids. And they just lie that they're not. You cannot, I'm sorry, but if you're claiming to be natural and you're like around 80 kilos and suddenly you discover this big secret or your big program that just unlocked all of your strength and and gains, and you actually progressed in 1 year more than you progressed in the last 8 years, and you're natural. Like, if you didn't gain weight and that's it, like I did or any other natural guy who like wanted to push limits, if you just didn't start eating like crazy and essentially gain weight and get a little bit chunkier, and people actually did a recomp and gained mostly it's so, and I mean, sorry, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I cannot even believe that people buy this shit. Like, that you actually train for 8 to 9 years and suddenly you were like, as I said, like you for the last 9 years you were around, you were hovering around 80 to 85 kilos at best, and suddenly you have 95 to 100 kilos in 1 year and you're shredded or even more jacked than before. I mean, come on. And even stronger. So you're bigger, leaner, and stronger at the same time. Just, that's a fairy tale if you're natural. And I know that 200 of you are just gonna watch this video, which is completely fine. But you have to understand that this is just being a realist. You can progress, you can get stronger, you can get bigger. You can. But don't live in dreamland, especially if you don't understand the timelines and time frames. Yes, you can get a lot stronger and bigger in 1 year, even if you train for like 10 years. But only if for the last 10 years you wasn't really serious. Like, I hate this hustle grind culture that try to tell you like the discipline is everything and all that. It's not. But if you train like not to 100% and you know it, like you know that you didn't hit your protein targets, and you know that you didn't eat a lot of vegetables, and you know that you really didn't sleep well, you were going out, partying, or not even partying, just hanging around with friends. It doesn't have to be like on like crazy partying, but you know what I'm saying. So if you get serious, if you gain weight, yes, you will get bigger and stronger. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I hate to deal in absolutes, but yes, most likely, if somebody gain weight, gain strength, but at the same time she or he got leaner, like, come on, bro. Like, we know what happened. Like, it's not a mystery. But for some people, we humans are very stupid when we want something desperately. So I was being like that. Everybody, now I'm a little bit older. I'm not old, but I'm a little bit older. I get a lot of stuff. You want to believe something, and you want to believe something so badly that, you will believe anything, pretty much. If somebody tells you a sweet lie, you're going to be like, yes, I wanted to make some jokes now, but I'm not gonna, because this is the first video in 1 year. So, but yeah, when somebody wants to tell you sweet lies and you want to hear those lies so badly, the lie that is like, yes, man, you can get leaner and stronger at the same time. Well, maybe if you are really overweight, you can do that. If you're really overweight and you've never been to the gym, you will get leaner, stronger, and you will build muscle at the same time. You will not get bigger because you are already big, but you will build muscle, get stronger, and get leaner at the same time. So if you're untrained or detrained, like me currently, and you start training again, or if you were like me, in the last year you have barely been to the gym, yes, there are a few cases where you can, progress more. But the main thing here that I want to say, and why I've been speaking for 15 minutes, is that if you want to progress as a natty, and you weren't serious in the past and all that, you have to gain weight. You don't have to get fat, but you have to gain weight. And I know that this thing is hard to hear for some people who want to be lean always, but it is what it is. Reality is reality. This is not me. I didn't invent this. This is just reality, and that's it. And I feel that not enough people still get this simple fact. Again, also with nutrition, people still don't get a lot of things. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, weight loss, and people still don't get that you just have to eat less calories and move more, essentially, if you want to lose weight. Like, there are no secrets. Nobody is holding up any secrets. Now it's 2025, 2026 is quickly gonna come, and people still don't understand this, like, extremely simplistic fact. Like, obviously, things are a little bit more complicated when you put this thing into practice, because human psychology comes into play. What you like, what you don't like to eat also comes into play. Your lifestyle comes into play, and all of that comes into play. I get it, but in the end, it is simple as the same as it is with gaining weight and building muscle. If you want to build muscle, you have to be in a surplus. And even if it's possible to do a recomposition, you will gain muscle and strength more slowly. Do you get it? Even if it's possible, who gives a shit? You're gonna gain strength and muscle more quickly, if you just are in surplus. On top of that, shedding fat is a million times easier than building muscle, especially for tall guys. Like, if man, I get so excited about this because I love this shit, man. I love the rant about this shit, man. I love this. Even fuck, man, it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Like, even if you want the recomp, there isn't pretty much any benefit, because in 1 year you're going to probably even be better off if you just gain weight in the surplus. And as I said, not to get fat, but just gain weight. Don't try to see your abs all the time. That's it. That's the only thing what I wanted to say in this video, because I feel like still a lot of people don't get this, and that's it. Like, yeah, I really wanted to get it out of my chest, and also, at least slightly cover what happened, since the last video. And I actually think that I actually made some like really weird PRs, which is funny. Like PRs on, I think on lat pull down I did some PRs, or maybe in some triceps movements, like push down tricep movements. So I actually did made some PRs, which is super stupid, but yeah. So essentially that's it for this video. Hopefully I'm gonna make better videos, so I'm sorry for videos like this, but I like to make the videos like this, as I said in pretty much every video. But I know that a lot of people don't like videos like this, especially if they're a longer format right now, like this one. But yeah, definitely, as I said, don't get fat, but gain weight with healthy foods. Eat a few ice cream here and there, but be reasonable. Don't have like all of your carbs from shit foods, because it's not gonna work. I mean, it's gonna work, but you're gonna gain a lot more fat than you would have to. So yeah, guys, awkward bicep shot as always, and see you guys in the next video hopefully soon. So peace.